dropped her off at that apartment,
Okay.
at those stairs.
Oh, you just walked her, you dropped her off?
Walked her to the stairs. That's where I've dropped her off a bunch of other times, besides just that day.
Okay, and when you dropped her off, who took her at that point?
Zanny did. I got off of work, left Universal, driving back to pick up Caylee like a normal day, and I show up to the apartment, knock on the door, nobody answers. So I call Zanny cell phone and it's out of service. After about 7 o'clock, when I still hadn't heard anything, I was getting pretty upset, pretty frantic, and I went to a neutral place. I didn't really want to come home. I wasn't sure what I'd say about not knowing where Caylee was, and I ended up going to my boyfriend Anthony's house. She's with someone that I absolutely do not trust, and that I'm absolutely scared that
you don't trust yet was babysitting your daughter for a year.
I don't trust her now because of what happened.
What point did you stop trusting her?
The moment that her phone was cut off and I couldn't get in contact with my daughter.
So you thought then, man, something ain't right.
Something's wrong.
And when you started thinking that something was wrong, which police agency did you call first? Us or the city police, or who did you call first? Who did you go to for help first to help try to find her?
No one.
Oh, no, okay, all right. Okay. Well, I'm glad we got that straightened out.
Unbelievable. Good evening. I'm Diane Diamond, sitting in for Nancy Grace. Tonight, breaking news: explosive police interview tapes of Casey Anthony just released.
Have you talked to anyone about Caylee, about your incident with Caylee? Or the fact that she's missing?
A couple people, a couple mutual friends.
Who did you talk to about it?
I talked to Jeffrey Hopkins.
Who else did you talk about?
I talked to Juliette Lewis. She was one of my coworkers at Universal.
She works. You still work at Universal?
Yes.
What do you do at Universal?
An event coordinator.
Okay. What is Juliette? What position is she? Where she work?
She's also an event coordinator. We work in the same department.
You bring us out to Universal, where you say you work in an office to try to help find stuff that will help us find your daughter. I'm on track so far, okay? And we get here, we walk up the way down the hall to where you tell us, you don't really work here. You don't have an office here.
So Jeff worked here until about 2 months ago?
No, he hasn't worked here for quite a while.
10 months? How long?
It's been at least 10 months.
Okay. He got fired in 2002. He hasn't been an employee here since 2002. What about the girl?
Juliette?
Yeah, what about her?
She left 2 months ago. That's exactly what she told me.
Juliette Lewis never worked at Universal Studios.
Our purpose in coming here was to do what? Go where?
I guess there wasn't a purpose. There wasn't a purpose whatsoever to come up here.
So we're wasting time, valuable time, that ought to be spent looking for your daughter.
Unless we start getting the truth, we're going to announce two possibilities with Caylee. Either you give Caylee to someone and you don't want anyone to find out because you think you're a bad mom, or something happened to Caylee and Kaylee's buried somewhere or in a trash can somewhere, and you had something to do with it. Either way right now is not a very pretty picture to be painting.
Sometimes the best thing a show host can do is get out of the way of the material, and tonight is just such a night. We have obtained the tapes police made during their one-on-one interviews with Casey Anthony, the mother of missing 3-year-old Caylee, who's been missing now for 12 long weeks. There are 2 interviews, both recorded on July 16th, one early in the morning, about 4 o'clock in the morning, and it was recorded at the home of Casey Anthony's parents. Now, the second interrogation was recorded later that same day as Casey Anthony takes police to Universal Studios in Orlando. Now, she told them that she worked there. She didn't work there, and they knew she didn't work there, yet she boldly marched them past the Universal security desk to show police her office. They followed her down long hallways, waiting for her to crack, waiting for her to tell the truth. Finally, Casey Anthony dropped her shoulders, and she admitted, well, no, she didn't work there. She had been fired in the spring of 2006. So that's when detectives took her into a nearby conference room and turned on the tape recorder.
But here's where it needs to end. Here's where the truth needs to come out, okay? No more lies, no more bull coming out of your mouth. We've been very respectful. We're taking our time and talking to you. But we're tired of the lies. No more lies. What happened to Caylee?
I don't know.
You do know. What happened to Caylee?
I don't know where she is. That is the God's honest truth.
Where was she the last time that you put her somewhere? Where was she?
The last time I saw her was on those steps at that apartment that I took you to this morning. The same apartment that I took the other officers to last night.
But you didn't give her to any. You didn't give her to anyone while you were there. See, we're pulling. No, because listen to me. We're even pulling surveillance video from an apartment complex, and they have to keep this by law for several days. Okay, and we're not seeing you over there. We're not seeing you there at all that day. Do you think that we're stupid and we're not going to do all this stuff? Okay, we're not seeing you there. So now, if you're not there and you're not being seen there, and somebody's already saying that you're not there, and everything else you've told us is a lie.
Boy, this is real fly-on-the-wall stuff as those police detectives sit with Casey Anthony inside a closed conference room at Universal Studio and really, for the very first time, start grilling her. Parenthetically, I should tell you, this is the last time the police ever got to interrogate her. Let's go out to our guest, Scott Haynes. He is a sheriff's officer with the Santa Rosa County, Florida Department. Scott, I guess you've probably had interrogations like this, but this woman is one tough nut to crack.
Absolutely. The investigators did a great job interviewing and interrogating this woman. They used some great tactics. Unfortunately, this woman is sticking to her series of lies and is doing absolutely nothing at all to help investigators find her child.
Sergeant, what do you do with somebody like this? She ostensibly is sitting there because she wants help in finding her missing daughter, yet she's lying and lying and lying. What do you do as a police interrogator to try to crack someone like that?
Exactly what the investigators continue to do. They stayed very focused during that. When she tried to come back with no, I didn't, just basic things like that, they stayed on her, stayed focused on their interrogation tactics. And unfortunately, when you have someone that continuously lies and is a pathological liar about everything that she seems to have told law enforcement, there's nothing that you can do but continue your investigation, try to obtain enough evidence to pursue a case against her without her cooperation.
Yeah, it's pretty tough when she refuses to talk to you anymore. Bethany Marshall, psychoanalyst on the panel tonight. Bethany, we now hear her. We hear how she dodges and weaves, and when they catch her in one lie, she then begins to weave a tale going in the other direction. What kind of personality are we dealing with here?
Well, let me first say the investigators were brilliant. And there's a saying in my field, if you ask a question, all you'll get is an answer. Meaning if you just say, well, did you kill your child and where is she? And you ask rote questions, you get rote answers. They did something very different. I listened to the whole tape. They supplied all the answers before they asked the questions. They spent about 20 minutes in setup saying, look, there's two possibilities. Either you're an evil monster and you're a cold-blooded killer and you got rid of your daughter, or there was an accident and now you're afraid.
Yeah,
maybe
Bethany,
she's in a dumpster.
She didn't bite on that. In fact, let's go back to some of this tape. I want to play as much of it as we can tonight. Here, one of the police detectives start telling her that it's like a snowball rolling down a big hill and she's at the bottom of that hill and is going to get crushed. Listen.
We're about halfway down that hill, 3/4 down that hill, and it's a pretty big snowball, which means that there's a lot of stuff going on right now. And I can tell you just for a certainty that everything you've told me so far has been a lie. I can tell you with a certainty, and let me explain why. Since I left you this morning, I've gone to every address that you've told me. I've looked up every name. I've talked to every person that you wanted me to talk to or tried to. I've reached out. I've talked to your ex-boyfriend. I've talked to Amy. I've talked to Tony. I came over here. I've already talked to all the employees. I found out all these names that you're giving me are people that either never worked here or have been fired here for a long time ago. Okay, so where we are right now is in a position that doesn't look very good for you, and this is going to be your escape hatch, so to speak. Okay? This is going to be the point where you stop all the lies and you stop all the fibs and you tell us exactly what's going on. I'm just being straight with you, because obviously I know and you know that everything you told me is a lie. Correct?
Not everything that I told you.
Okay, pretty much everything that you've told me, including where Caylee is right now.
That I don't know where she is.
Sure you do. And here's
I absolutely
listen,
do not know where she is.
It gets a little bit heated there. Bethany Marshall, jump back in here. This woman looks right at these police officers as they're saying, we think you're lying. You know where your daughter is. And mostly she just goes,
Well, see, but what they are doing is they are supplying the answers. They're saying these are all lies. That's an answer. They're saying it's like a big snowball running down, going down a hill. That is an answer that she can bite on or not bite on. Now, think of it like a big multiple choice questionnaire. She can start ticking off the things that apply or do not apply, and then they can begin to see, do the various responses match up? They can go into the various answers, see if one goes with another.
Yeah, and
so it's a very sophisticated process. It's not just confronting her on lying, it's giving the answers and then saying this doesn't match up with what you said before.
In 20 seconds, Bethany Marshall, psychoanalyst, is a woman who could do this also capable of killing someone?
Well, pathological lying is associated with extreme disregard for the rights of others. So yes, the two do correlate.